Have you ever wondered how to take a lot of different data in different sheets in Excel, put them together and analyze your data? Well, today we're going to look at some basic and powerful concepts of Power Pivot to analyze your data faster. So the first thing that we're going to do is learn to put our data into tables. Second thing we're going to look at is how to create relationships between those tables, also known as data modeling. The third thing we're going to do is have a look at DAX, a very simple DAX within Power Query, and show you how to calculate certain fields within the tables. Lastly, we're going to bring it all together and analyze our data and answer 3 simple business questions. Now, if you would like to follow along, there is the sheet link in the description below, so feel free to download that. And ready to jump in? Let's go. So now that we have our data, we have 4 different tables split up into sales, and this table shows us the date when something was sold, a location code, quantity, a unit price, and some other information. On the item master, we have the actual SKU and what it refers to. So whether it's a department, the actual name of the item, a cost, as well as a stock quantity. We move on to the locations, and here we have location name with the location code. So in the first sheet data here, you have a location code. You will not know from looking at that code what it refers to, so this table allows us to have that information. Then we go across to the employee table. Now this table gives us the name, the code, and can be used for many other different things as well. The first thing that we need to do is create all of these into tables. So let's just highlight that, highlight the data, Control T. Our table has headers. Yep. Let's move on to the next table. What I've done over here is just put the data within each table into a format where it has the value name and the type of data in each of the fields. So you can't build a relationship between two different types of formats. A number and a currency works together. Anything number related, a text will work together, and a date will work only with dates. So this is something that you must be very, very vigilant about, because if your data is not in the correct format, it's going to throw out errors and it's not really going to help you in looking at your data very well. So the first step is to make sure that the data is cleaned before it's put into tables. So what we need to do as a first step is to create a relationship between all of these tables. So we go across to the data tab here and click onto this icon, which is relationships. Once we've clicked on this, it brings up a relationship box here, and now we're going to go to new. So what we're going to do here is the item table here. We're going to link it with the sales table with the SKU. So go on to the item table and we look for the SKU code here. Then we go to the sales table, and we can then go to the SKU code here, and that's built one relationship. The second one we can build is the location code here. So now we've built 3 relationships here between our tables. So let's have a look at what this looks like and the way to do that is go across to the Power Pivot tab here and go to Manage. Once you open the Power Pivot box here, you can go to Diagram View. In it, as we've added all of our tables into the data model, as we've created the relationships, go to the Diagram View, and now it shows you that you have an item data here. So it's a one relationship to a many, means that the SKU code appears once here in this data, and it appears many times in the sales data. Similarly here, you have the location data where you have the code appearing once and then it appears many times in this. The same thing here, you have a 1, 2, as it has many, but it actually is just the same here. Okay. Now, once we've built our relationships, we may have a need to use some calculated fields within our data. So if we have a look at the example here, we might want to have in the item table what the stock value is, and how we can do that is by multiplying the stock quantity and the cost price. And another thing we might want to look at is the total revenue here. So how we do that is you go to the quantity sold times the unit price, and that would also give us the total. So we'll quickly dive back into our Power Pivot dashboard here, and we can just build those relationships. So let's start off with item data. We're going to have a stock value here. So let's just add in our column here, stock value, and you can add a dollar if you want to as a sign. However, the formula is equals the quantity here, and you multiply it by the cost price. Now if you press OK, that is now showing you the total stock value that you have. To change the format, you can click onto the column, you go to data type, there's format general or auto, and you can change it here. Go to currency, and there are shortcuts right here where you can just change it into dollars. There you go. If you want to change as well the other columns, just go across and change that. So let's close that, and let's go across to the sales data. Once you go to the sales data, you can do the same thing here. Double click on that, and we can go to the total. And once again, it's a simple formula where you have the formula bar up here equals the quantity times by the unit price, and you see the formula build up over here. Press OK, and it brings down all of the totals in your table. Let's close this up and go back to our table. So now we have our relationships built, and we have our calculated fields, which are stock value and total. Now we can start to build our pivot tables. So on to answering the questions that we want to gain from our data. So the first thing we want to have a look at is the highest revenue by department. Now how we need to do that is go across to the insert, go to pivot table and click onto the little arrow, go to from data model. If you do from table or range, it's not going to detect it's in the data model. So press OK, and we're going to have it in the existing sheet. We press OK. Now we come up with the dialog box here and the pivot table fields here. So now you can see that you have all your data tables in different color fields here. With when you drag it down, you just have a look at all the data here, and you have item data. So it might get a little bit messier like that. You can't see all of the fields, so you can just change the way that you see the data. And now make it a little bit wider and have a look at how you can take the data across to your pivot table and answer the first question. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to drag in is the department, and if you don't want to scroll through data, you could just type it in and it comes up. Click onto department. It by default goes into the rows, and if it's not there, you can drag it across to the other columns as you want. Now we go to the sales, so it was called total, and the total goes to the value field here. Now you have all your data here, and you can just right click here and sort it from largest to smallest, and now you have all your information here. So the highest revenue department will be electronics. The next one we'll have a look at is the top 3 locations by revenue. So what we can do is go to location. So here it makes much more sense if we put location name, and we can look at the total. So we drag in the total here, and once again we have this. So what we can do is we can use a filter to have the top 3, or you could just sort it and have the top 3 from largest to smallest, so you can have the top 3 here. However, if you do want to use a filter, you can just go across here, click on this, and then you have value filters top 10. We can just come across here and go to top 3 by revenue, press OK, and that just represents your top 3. Okay, so what we need to do is bring across the name of the employee. So we can do the manager name onto the rows here, and we can go across to the total sales data, put that here. Now once again we can filter this, or we could just sort it if you want, and let's just go for the filtering once again, the top one. So it becomes Robin Green, and now we need to bring over the salary of Robin Green. So let's go across and bring that. There you go. So obviously you can change the formats as you want. Today is just about having a look at how Power Pivot and DAX can help you, and this is what it can produce with a very, very powerful tool of relationship building and simple DAX. You can create a lot of different information that you would not be able to do in the past. Thank you for watching this video, and if you learned something, I would appreciate a like and subscribe, and look out for my other videos on Power Pivots and other lovely topics on Excel that help you scale up your Excel. See you in the next video.